Hello, lovely people of the world. Bouncing here to you, and welcome to a discussion for the Nintendo Direct Mini of March 2020. Today I'm joined by.
TheJamesRolls.
And Pancake Armor Man.
So, without further ado, let's get this over with, because this discussion has been long overdue because it's been 6 months since the last Nintendo Direct. So, let's talk about that. How do you feel about the 6 month gap between the September Direct and today?
Alright, so it didn't really bother me to have such a big gap between directs because I know that Nintendo will just usually follow through and just do a direct anyways. They're pretty random about it nowadays. So I don't really care. And plus, a week before the Nintendo Direct Mini, we had the Indie Showcase go on or whatever it was called. I just call them Indie Directs. So didn't really bother me because we technically did get a direct week before this one, but with indie games. And I know a lot of people don't really care about indie games, but I feel like a lot of indie games nowadays are really good. And, I play them a lot more than I did back then. But yeah, it didn't bother me. The gap didn't really bother me that much. Of course, it was cool to see Nintendo Direct after so long, but like I said, we had already a week ago technically had a direct. So with the indies. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, we had a lot of themed one off directs for other games and Indie World within the last 3 months, so technically it didn't feel like we've gone a long time without a direct. But, 6 months is fine. We've done that before, I think. The longest gap, I think, was 8 months at one point for a direct, many years ago or something. But that's just the thing. Everybody expects a January direct and then a February direct, and now everybody should hopefully shut up and not expect anything until March anymore, and then eventually not expect anything until April, then May, and then just wait until E3. But in all seriousness, I didn't really mind it. Honestly, I find it hilarious. Not as hilarious as when 2 years ago when they dropped the mini out of nowhere when everybody was anticipating it and they had the flaming Chibi Robo. Nothing like that level, but seeing the fan base get all riled up, like, hey, where's the direct? And replying to Nintendo's tweets all the time, direct please, and stuff. Honestly, kind of annoying, but it finally happened, and at least Nintendo can go a week without somebody in their tweets asking about where the next direct is.
Yeah, I can understand the mindset of being getting frustrated that there wasn't a traditional Nintendo Direct for a while. We did get a lot of themed ones, like you said. We got the Animal Crossing one, and we got Violet from Smash presentation. So it's not like we didn't get any news at all for 6 months or anything like that. But I think people were just more so worried that there weren't going to be any like big announcements for 2020. There still weren't any for the Direct to Mini, but at the same time, we still got some pretty good announcements, which we'll be talking about in a moment. So, the next question: what are your thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and the newly revealed Future Connected Epilogue?
I really like the way Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition looks because seeing the gameplay of that and comparing it to the gameplay from the Wii or the new 3DS version, it looks just stunning and so good. And I really like the way it looks. I've just started getting into the Xenoblade series with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country. I need to play that more. And I like it. I enjoy it. And it I've always looking forward to playing the original Xenoblade Chronicles because I've always seen it at local game stores, but it's an expensive game. You cannot get it cheap. And I won't mind paying full price for the Switch version when it comes out. And it looks really good. I really want to play it. And it overall, I just really like the way it looks. Now for the future connected epilogue, looks really good. I'm glad that they're adding more story in the game because people need a reason to buy it. Than well, it's just a remaster of Xenoblade that looks better. People need more of a reason to buy it. So I'm glad they're giving more people more of a reason to buy it with this epilogue, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully it does good. Hopefully the game sells well, and I'll play it. When it comes out, maybe a couple months after it comes out, then I'll play it.
So, it was basically a given we were probably going to get Xenoblade Definitive Edition because there were lots of leaks about its release, which were confirmed afterward. So, it's very interesting because I'm not really much of a Xenoblade fan, and I've been vocal about that. But I've always wanted to try. Now, I don't think I would spend the $60 because I got it for 20 on the Wii U via the Wii Virtual Console thing. So, if anything, I'd probably just play that and maybe watch videos of the future connected thing. But speaking of the future connected DLC, it's pretty interesting. I mean, it was pretty much a given, like Pancake said. They weren't just gonna release a remaster and not have something to justify the $60 price. So, adding an epilogue that seems to tie in maybe to Xenoblade 2 and or Torna is a good idea. So, yeah, it's a pretty neat idea. And I don't think I'd buy the Switch version. Maybe when it's on sale or something, if for like $40, I don't know. But as it currently stands, I don't really plan on getting it at least on the Switch. But as far as playing it, I might boot up my Wii U and play it there.
I'm the exact opposite. I freaking love Xenoblade Chronicles. I'm really excited for Definitive Edition. I'm gonna get a day one, and it's gonna be awesome. Slight correction though, Future Connected is not DLC or anything like that. It's kind of like what they added with Tokyo Mirage Sessions when they added a new dungeon in that one. What I really like about this is that Future Connected can be played right from the beginning. So you don't have to beat a 180-hour plus game to be able to play the new content. You can play Future Connected right from the get-go. It just looks so beautiful. The entire game just looks amazing. The original Xenoblade, the funny thing about that is that the art style is very divisive, where some people like myself will say it's one of the best looking games on the Wii, but others would say it's like an early PS2 game. This Switch version looks so incredible. And what I'm really excited about with Future Connected in particular is I won't go into spoilers or anything like that, but I'm really happy they're giving Melia the focus she deserves because she did not get the justice that she needed at the end of Xenoblade. Hashtag poor Melia. Which reminds me, Chad Conroy, if you're watching this, which I highly doubt you are, when's there Future Connected Season 2 happening? All right, so next question. What are your thoughts on an ARMS character coming to Smash, and who do you think it will be?
ARMS. Nintendo's most ignored new franchise finally coming to Smash. I'm pretty alright with that. ARMS was kind of ignored when it first came out, and I'm really glad that it's getting the representation that it should have gotten. Because I don't know how to explain it, but when the game came out, I always wanted to try it and all that sort of stuff. But we're talking about Smash, so I'm glad that there's an ARMS character coming to Smash. That's all I really gotta say about that. And as for who it'll be, I don't know because I haven't played ARMS. I want to play it, but I don't know any of the characters. I thought it was gonna be Springman, but apparently he's an assist trophy. So yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was almost kind of like a given that they were gonna try to do something with ARMS, especially because they had an ARMS stage. They had Springman as an assist trophy. Right? Yeah, there's an ARMS stage, the boxing, like the main ring or whatever. So they had that. They have Springman as an assist trophy. They have a Ribbon Girl costume for Mies. So it was pretty much a kind of a given that, the next step would be a fighter character. Interestingly, they did include all of the fighters in the teaser image when they were saying, who could it be? But yeah, I don't think it's going to be Springman because it'd be weird and then it would open up the floodgates for any and all assist trophies to be promoted again. But in the same game, I don't really know how that would really work to program that to say, okay, Springman, you're a fighter, but when you're a fighter, their assist trophy can't be activated. I don't think they'd go through all that technicality, so I don't think it'll be Springman. Good chance it could be Ribbon Girl. I really hope it's a female character, because, the DLC, there's only Kazooie as a female character in terms of straight default options, because obviously Byleth, you can have the female character as well. But yeah, there's not much female representation in Smash in general, so it'd be nice to have a female ARMS fighter. A lot of people might want Twintel or Min Min. Lollipop could be in it. The mechanical one, is her name just Mechanica? Or Dr. Coil, could be any one of those. Personally, I think I would do Twintel because it would knock out a female character and also a character of color, so you could have two birds with one stone. So that's who I'd pick. I guess I'll just say that. I guess I'll just say Twintel.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that Springman is not going to be the character because it'd be really boring if they just teased that an ARMS character was coming, didn't say who it was, and then at E3 they were like, "Oh, it's a Springman." And I think that also rules out Springtron as well because I don't see an Echo Fighter style character appearing without the counterpart. So I think Ribbon Girl has the highest chance because she's more so of a poster character than Springman is, at least in terms of popularity. But personally speaking, I really, really, really hope it's Min Min because she's my absolute favorite character in the game. She won the popularity party crash thing from a couple months or years ago. Twintail is a very close second. She's an awesome character, and I can imagine her special ability working similar to Bayonetta's Witch Time because in arms, she can slow down enemy opponents because they literally get starstruck because of her awesomeness, because that would be really cool. Lola Pop is also adorable. I'd love to see her as well. Helix is hilarious as well. Dr. Coil, that would be really cool, and I could totally imagine her announcement trailer working as kind of like a parody of the Ken and Incineroar trailer, where it shows them fighting in the boxing ring, and then all of a sudden an ARMS character suddenly appears and then just completely destroys everybody, because that would be so cool. The big thing I'm really excited about with this in particular is that we're going to get ARMS music in the game, which is awesome because the main theme is amazing, and I absolutely love Dr. Coil and Lola Pop's themes. So the next question, what's your current mindset for how the rest of Fighter Pass 2 will happen?
Considering that we're getting an ARMS character next for Smash Bros. And ARMS, like I said before, was a pretty ignored and I would want to say kind of obscure franchise up to this point. I want to think that the Fighter Pass 2 will be for more obscure or ignored franchises. Like, I know it's kind of weird to say, but maybe like we'll get characters like, oh, I don't know, Captain Rainbow from the game Captain Rainbow, which is a pretty unknown franchise in the United States. But it's like I want to think that Fighter Pass 2, since we're getting a ARMS character, will be dedicated to more obscure or forgotten or ignored franchise characters. Because I think that would be pretty cool. See some characters that nobody really knows about being put into the game.
It's interesting because I could see them just doing all first party, but then there was that thing with Sakurai's Famitsu column, or the translation, maybe it was the error translation, but when Sakurai apparently was going to pitch a fighter to a developer before the current world situation started happening. So I interpreted that as he's going to pitch to some third-party developer if this fighter could work. I don't know. They could take it in a whole number of directions. I mean, for all we know, they ended off the first one with a first-party character, and they could be starting off this one with a first-party character, and the rest are third-party. So there's no real way we can tell where they're going to go with this. At least not until probably E3, because I imagine they'll start out with the character for ARMS being revealed, and they'll probably bookend the direct with a reveal for the second character, much like they revealed Hero and Banjo and Kazooie. So, can't really say right now how I think they'll go with it, but I could see pretty much anything happening, other than mentioning earlier. I don't think they'll put Springman as the character, so I don't think they're gonna upgrade assist trophy. So sorry, Waluigi fans, not this time.
I think two things or three things are basically safe to say at this point. I think there's no doubt that the E3 Direct will have two characters, like you said. They're definitely going to announce the ARMS character there and whoever's coming later during the same Direct. Um, they also said when first came out that the reason why they didn't have an ARMS character playable was because it was announced after the roster was finalized. And the same thing was said for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 characters. So I think Rex and Pyra are definitely going to happen now. I have no doubts about that. Of course, if that doesn't happen, I look at this discussion a couple of years from now, and I'll slowly cry myself to sleep at night. But anyway, I think the third thing that's safe to say is that whoever the last character is, I don't think it's going to be like some big grand character reveal like people were expecting. Because I know a lot of people were expecting some big grand announcement for the fifth character in the first Final Pass, and then they got disappointed when Byleth was announced, with which Byleth is awesome, so whatever. I think these final character is just not going to be as big of a grand epic thing as people are going to be expecting it will be. But like I said, I think Rex and Pyra are basically confirmed at this point, and I'm also really hoping the Lara Croft becomes playable.
Keep dreaming.
And then, oh,
But the thing is, though, I think, not to get away from the discussion real quick, but for too long, rather, but I kind of don't see that happening. I think, if anything, they will try to end off with a bang. Like, of course, they've probably been talking to people. There's the articles that came out that they did try getting Sora, and as far as we know, it didn't work out. So they could keep pestering Disney and say, hey, let's do this. It would be really freaking cool. So they're gonna try their damnedest to finish it off very strong. I don't have any doubts about that. Because, honestly, I think, and I said this before real quick, I think Byleth was going to be in Fighter Pass 2. Like, they were just, like, it was no doubt Byleth was going to be in the DLC no matter what. But I think because it's so easy to program a Fire Emblem character, and basically any sword fighter, that they just had Byleth on the back burner, like, okay, if something doesn't work out that we're trying to grab, which for example, they tried getting Sora, maybe Sora was planned for the fifth character, but it didn't work out, so Byleth was on the back burner, and they said, okay, let's just use Byleth right now. I think if they can, they will end off the second Fighter Pass very strong. I disagree with you on that. I think they will try their damnedest to end it off with a bang. Okay, back to the discussion now.
I guess one other thing that I could add is that I do agree that I think Byleth probably was planned for the second DLC pass, and maybe they weren't quite sure if they were going to do that, which was why Byleth got pushed to the first one, because it would be important to get that character released as soon as possible so that it could still tie in with Fire Emblem Three Houses, and especially with that DLC that was released around the same time. I think one common theme we will see with the second DLC pack is characters who they really wanted to appear in the base game, but they couldn't because they were announced afterwards, which is also a big reason why I think Rex and Pyra are definitely going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with the last character, because you make a really good point, but I think that the best thing to do is just keep your expectations low for that last character, and because if you keep your expectations low, then you won't get any hurt feelings or anything like that if it does appear like a bit more basic character, but then you'll be even more excited when it's like, oh my god, Spyro the Dragon or Crash Bandicoot or Pac-Man or wait, Pac-Man's already in the game. I'm sorry, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Anyway, moving on.
They'll just add classic Pac-Man.
Yes, classic Pac-Man.
No. Hear me out. The final character for the Smash DLC of all of Ultimate, GLaDOS.
I would actually really love a Portal character in Smash. Next question is, what are your thoughts on what was revealed for the Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC?
The Sword and Shield DLC definitely makes the game look more worthwhile. Now, I was specifically waiting to get the game until they made DLC, because I knew they would, and yeah, it looks really good. I like how they're adding a new Pokemon to it and all that. That's all I really gotta say is that the DLC looks good. I like how they're adding a new Pokemon. Yeah, that's really it. Wow.
I mean, to be fair, they kind of blew the rocket off of it when they first revealed the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, so there wasn't really all too much. All we really saw was actual gameplay instead of concept art stuff. But I don't mind it. Obviously, it's divisive, but that's with any first-party game, or technically second-party or whatever. and DLC, but DLC is pretty much the norm. It's been the norm for everywhere but Nintendo for almost a decade now, it seems like. So Nintendo finally catching up to that, so whatever. The prices can be debated, who cares? People are going to buy it anyway, even though they say it's too expensive, should have been in the base game, whatever. But yeah, DLC looks great. It looks a lot more polished, thank God, since the preview we saw of it at the end of the Pokemon Direct. The trees look a lot better in the Isle of Armor than they did in the regular Sword and Shield game, so that's a plus. I'm looking forward to it. I like Cubfu and I like Urshifu, so I'll be pretty excited for that. The G.A.M.E starters, they didn't really explain how that'll work. I assume they'll just like have your starter be given to Mustard or something, and then like bing bang boom, now it can Gigantamax and whatever. Also, well, that's pretty much my thoughts, but at least we got to know the pronunciations of the starters. That'll come in handy for a couple years down the road for me. Intellion, though? Intellion? Come on, Game Freak, what?
I gotta be honest, I don't remember what was said that was completely new compared to the Pokemon Direct. Like, did they say anything new? Because it kind of felt like everything they said was just like re-saying everything from the other Direct.
No, there was nothing new. It was just actual gameplay compared to stuff they said in the Direct.
All right,
Well,
that was
gameplay to words.
There was technically something new when they showed off the new Pokemon, how it will evolve into one Pokemon when you go to one tower, or another Pokemon if you go to the other. So that was kind of new.
Yeah, kind of, but they kind of implied it with the Direct anyway. Whatever, it's Pokemon. They always repeat information.
Yeah, that kind of felt like a really weird note to end the Direct on, just rehashing what we already knew about the DLC. Um, my opinion on it has gone a little bit more positive since the last Direct. Like, personally speaking, I didn't care about the DLC either way because it just meant that we got more Pokemon into the base game now, which I'm really glad they're doing. But I actually started playing Pokemon Sword lately, so it's kind of exciting to get more content. Although the opening of Pokemon Sword is kind of lame, so hopefully it gets better later in the game. But the Isle of Armor does look pretty fun. It definitely does look like a step up visually from the base game, at least. So it's exciting for Pokemon fans. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to try it out when it's released. But yeah, it looks pretty fun so far. So the next question: were there any other games that you'd like to talk about?
Oh my god, the Bioshock trilogy is coming to Switch. Bioshock was this series that I always wanted to try out for Xbox 360, and I never got into it because I just never did. And now it's coming to Switch. Oh, Bioshock is coming to Switch. I'm so happy about this. And then there's Borderlands. Now I actually own the first Borderlands on Switch. I mean on Xbox 360, but the other games are coming to Switch, so that's pretty cool. And then there was this other one, I forget what it was called, Catherine Full Body or something like that. Now that game is interesting puzzle game. I remember about it when it was originally announced back for the Xbox 360 and PS3. So that's an interesting puzzle game. I might play it someday. There were other interesting games, but those were the three that caught my eye. Like Bioshock, I was really hyped when I saw Bioshock. Oh my god, Bioshock! That's a great. I really want to try that out. I really, just want to try it out on Switch. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, basically what Pancake said, but also Burnout Paradise. EA bringing back Burnout Paradise is pretty exciting. So thankfully they're at least giving the Switch something, because usually it's just the sports games they give the Switch, other than Unravel 2. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, Bioshock Collection. Borderlands Collection coming, XCOM 2 Collection I think was the other one from 2K, so pretty exciting stuff. There's some other RPG games that honestly don't look too appealing to me, even though I love RPGs, or at least certain RPG genres. Yeah, it was a pretty average Direct. There was a lot of good, a lot of bad, or not necessarily bad, but a lot of okay, like it's good for some people, but not good for me personally. But yeah. So pretty much what Pancake said, and then Burnout Paradise. That's really what I'm excited for.
I'm really shocked that Bioshock is I didn't mean that, but uh, I'm gonna start that over. I'm really surprised that BioShock is coming to Switch. I think there were rumors about it coming before the actual direct, but I don't look into rumors that much. But it looks really incredible. BioShock is something I've always wanted to try out, but I just could never find a copy of it. So I'm really happy that it's coming to Switch so that I can try it out and things like that. Borderlands, I've heard good things about it, but I'm not personally interested. Same thing with XCOM. Catherine looks really cool though. I believe that's made by the same team that makes the Persona series, so that's one slightly kind of half step closer to Persona 5 coming to Switch. Please, Atlas, let that happen.
It would have happened
Um,
by now. It's not gonna happen.
it can happen.
I mean, it will probably happen, but it probably won't happen. Think
Uh,
about that.
I will say I'm surprised that they didn't say anything about Persona 5 Scramble during this direct, but maybe they're saving that for another time because I do believe that Persona games do kind of take their own sweet time to actually get localized. Um, One other game that was really exciting was that one Ninja game. I think it was Ninjala or something like that. That art style looks very Splatoon-like, and I love that. It looks like a lot of fun, so I'm really looking forward to that one. And it's free to play, so that's gonna be fun too. Other than that, the only one I can really think of is Bravely Default 2. That one looks pretty fun as well, but I've never played the other one, so I don't really know if it's my kind of thing. But it does look like a really fun game. I do love the art style for it.
I actually completely
Bravely
forgot about Bravely Default 2, to be honest.
Bravely Default 2 looks boring to me. I don't know why, it just looks boring.
It looks like an average RPG to me. I didn't play the other games, but, it's just there.
I'm a big RPG fan,
Exists.
so I'm looking forward to it. All right, so final question. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up this discussion?
I thought the mini Nintendo Direct, even though they should have just called it a regular Nintendo Direct, I mean, it was almost 30 minutes long. But anyways, I thought it was pretty good. You know, there were some good things like Bioshock, the Star Wars games, and other things, and Pokemon, of course, and Smash being talked about. There was some right stuff like Bravely Default 2, which just looked boring to me and all that sort of stuff. And other all right games they showed off. Some of them I can't even remember because they were just all right. And, it was average. I thought it was pretty good, and it was, average to good. And, yeah, I'm excited to see what else Nintendo has to show in the future near E3, because that will be the next time we get a Nintendo Direct, because you can always count on E3 Nintendo Directs.
Except 2016.
Yeah, and 2008, so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty alright direct. Like Pancake said, it was like 30 minutes long, so it should have just been a normal direct, or they could have called it a super mini direct or something. I don't know. But yeah, it was alright, pretty average. Xenoblade's cool. Pokemon, obviously, cool. And the 2K game's coming cool. So yeah, I'd say it was a pretty average direct. Average to lower good tier out of all the directs. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
I'm fine with them labeling it as a Nintendo Direct Mini because I think that way they didn't set any expectations that there'd be some brand new announcements here because pretty much everything that we got here was for stuff that we already knew about. So I'm fine with that. And before we finish this video, I have a small story to tell. So the day the Nintendo Direct Mini happened, I was up all night because I was watching Star Trek Picard with my family, and then I was working on videos for a little while. So then I was like, all right, I'm done working now. I can go to bed. But then I look on Twitter one more time and I see James posting that there was a Nintendo Direct Mini that just uploaded. I was like, let me go to sleep. But yeah, this was a pretty fun Nintendo Direct all around, and I'm really excited that the two of my favorite RPGs of all time, not only got ported to Switch this year, but they both also got brand new content. So that's pretty fun as well. All right, so that's gonna wrap up this Nintendo Direct mini discussion. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I've been Lady Gear to you, and they are
Pancake Armor Man.
And the James rolls.
So see you guys next time. Wah, I'm out.